Got
Hey
it.
everybody, welcome to the team call today. So we have a ton of teams. We have 180 United and all the downlines. We have Fierce Factor in here, and you guys are in for an awesome call. Julie Langford and I are taking over the team calls for the month with different topics, and we are kicking it off today. So Carina is amazing. Let's just start with that. She's a mom of three. She's been with Beachbody for 3.5 years and has, I don't know, maybe the last year and a half. I can't remember when you took over the Diamonds to 3-star for Canada. And she's honestly just been such a light, and she's poured so much belief in there. Every call I get off of with her, I'm just vibing on such a great level. I cried the last call that we had many times. And she's really just breathes life in a different way to me. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear from her. She also just loves to keep it simple. She's a busy mom, and most of us, all have busy lives. So she is going to breathe into us today how to stop overthinking it and really just love your journey. So on that, I will kick it over to you, Carina.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for inviting me to your team call, and welcome. I am so grateful to be a part of this team call and to be a part of the Canadian market. I've actually been with the Canadian market since February. So right after NLC, which was crazy because I wish I would have been told before, so I would have met all of those that went to NLC in January. But then it was like early February, we did a different changes in our coach development team, and they're like, Carina, we need help in Canada. And I said, well, I can help. I'd love to help. And it's actually been a challenge to me because I worked 3.5 years with Beachbody, but I worked with the Latino community, and our culture is just very, very different. And then when I started working with Canada, it's like, okay, I love this. I need to adapt, which is amazing because changes are awesome. But it doesn't always mean that changes are things that you're accustomed to. It's a challenge. And so you have to grow. And in order for you to grow, you have to understand that you have to learn new things. And with me in the Canadian market, learning about I was very absent. This is, and I'm sorry, I feel like dumb sometimes saying this, but I had no idea what Canada was going through with COVID and everything. And I was just, my mind was just opened to so many things. And so I said, okay, this is good to know because us Americans, we're like in our little bubble and we only live what America is used to knowing, right? So it's really good to broaden our horizons there. So I'm so excited to finally be able to say I am the Canadian Market Coach Development Manager. I work alongside Jake, Jeff, and Arnold. And just like Lauren said, I am a mother of three. I have 3 children, a 12-year-old girl, 11-year-old boy who's just turned 11 last week, and a 7-year-old kid who I don't know who his parents are. I'm still trying to figure out his mother, but I don't know if he has a mother. But anyways, I call him my son. He's the one that tells me to stop and don't have any more children. But he's adorable. He's the cutest one. But yeah, so today I'm excited because Lauren's like, Carina, can you talk to our team? We're starting August with a huge push, with a huge motivation. And I mean, it's Monday, August 1st. It's like the first day of the month, and it's the first day of the business week, and the first day of Team Cup, and the first day of so many things that you don't even know what that first day of will be. It probably will be the first day of you taking action into something you were always afraid of doing. It could be the first day that you can actually sleep 7 hours because you finally decided to stop overthink. It could be the first day that you're like, okay, well, today is going to be the first day I'm going to actually wash my face before I go to bed. Actually stopped doing that. I stopped doing that for a couple of weeks, and then I realized that that's not good. COVID did that to me. I was just so tired that I was just not washing my face, but don't do that. But anyways, it could be your first day of anything. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but I don't know if you ever think about how you're overthinking something you shouldn't probably even be thinking about, right? Like me washing my face. And then you can't stop overthinking about how you're an overthinker and how you wish you would just stop thinking these thoughts that make you overthink. And then it's like 4 a.m. in the morning and you haven't slept and you're left thinking, why, oh, why are you such an overthinker? And so I want to here, I'm going to share. I said I created a very edgy PowerPoint. I think Lauren, I need access to share a PowerPoint. And I feel like and I'm glad, Lauren, that you said that I normally I don't always share PowerPoints, but sometimes I feel like to get to the point and make it easier for me as a speaker, I use it. The reason why I make it so simple, because I am a very simple person. I want you to really end this call with saying, I can do this so much better than Carina. Because if you say that, that tells me that I was able to make it so simple and so clear to you that you're actually able to go ahead and turn around and do it. And so that's my goal. That I'm so clear with what we're gonna say that you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like I love this. Like I can do it. I can actually teach my people to how to stop overthink and start enjoying their journey. And so let me share.
I think you should be good.
Okay, got it right here. Okay, so how to stop overthinking and enjoy your journey. One of the things that I want to for you guys to know, it's really before you even talk about overthinking, it's kind of like, what does overthinking look like? And what happens when we think so much, it's like a chain effect, right? You'll start worrying about one thing, and then you'll be worried about something completely different. You might start worrying about maybe work, and then you'll start worrying about money, and that leads to worrying about losing your job, right? It's like a chain. It's like a chain effect. It's one thing over another over another. Well, you may believe that continuing to think and rethink about things that bother you is sometimes us as mothers and as women, we call it problem solving, right? Oh, I was just problem solving in my own head. This habit of overthinking doesn't usually provide any real solution to whatever it is that we're doing. In fact, overthinking creates more stress by focusing on the negative, dwelling on the past, and worrying about your future. And I know Lauren said, for those that were on here before I got on here, she mentioned that put in the chat what makes you overthink. And I know Shelly put on there what other people say. What other people think of you, what other people will, the normal, what will people say if I did this? And before you start trying to overthink so much, it can be useful to understand why you tend to overthink in the first place, right? So I put on here, let me see if I can, there we go. What does overthinking look like? And really what it does is worrying that jumps from one topic to the next, thinking of the worst case scenario, struggling to make decisions, including second guessing yourself, trouble concentrating. You're always feeling on edge. You're like, I don't know, I can't, I don't know, I don't think I'm in the right place. I don't think, you start thinking, I don't think I should do this. I don't really think I should wear a sports bra and be on a conference call with coaches. I really don't think I should look like this. Like we overthink things like that. We're always feeling on edge. We're seeking repeated reassurance from other people. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't wash my hair. Like, I look really dirty. And then you guys, oh no, Karina, you look fine. That's me seeking reassurance. I'm like, okay, good. Then I feel good. No, it's just confidence. Hey, I didn't wash my hair. It's not a wash your hair day, but this is how I look. And I'm going to give you guys a topic. We're going to talk about overthinking. So let's not overthink, right? This is how it looks like. And I don't know if that's who you are. And I tend to fall into this, which is amazing. When Lauren's like, so what should we talk about? I'm like, well, something that I know I have trouble going through, that I've been trying to do this and it's actually worked. It's worked with different coaches. It's worked with my own children. It's worked with my family. That I feel that if we start talking about overthinking and what it does and the causes of overthinking, then you'll finally understand how to fix it, how to actually start enjoying life and stop overthinking, right? So we go on to that. What causes overthinking? And I'm going to try not to bore you, but I really researched. And I found with my research that I did, I found various psychologists. And what I did, they talked about the same topic over and over again. So I took the top 7 topics that they talked about and I put it in a slide and I said, we're going to talk about this because it's so true. Sometimes we don't realize the roots of the cause of our overthinking. Sometimes we just think we're just overthinkers, we're moms, we're problem solvers, we call it, right? But really what it is, it's the childhood learning. Most people with a severe habit of overthinking develop the habit early in life, like everything else, right? And often as a child, usually it's developed because at the time it was the only way that a child has to deal with something scary or going through difficult experiences, right? For example, as a child of an alcoholic parent, the habit of worrying obsessively about what would happen if dad came home drunk might have served a very useful function than keeping me safe or out of harm's way, right? Because I would always think about this, overthink stuff. But here's the thing, the initial cause of overthinking is often very different than the maintaining cause. While it's important to understand the origins of your overthinking or your habit in the past, if you want to just stop overthinking so much, you need to understand what's maintaining your overthinking habit in the present and go back. And I know a lot of people were like in our habits that we have. I remember, oh, this is something, I don't know if your parents were like that, but my dad had a huge problem with us dumping. I don't know if it's in our culture, we have sweet bread, right? And we have hot chocolate. We grab the piece of bread and we dip it inside our hot chocolate and we eat it. Okay. That's normal. You put it in there and you eat it. My dad hated that. He hated it. And so it was something that when I see someone doing it, it just triggers this in me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why are they doing that? Like, oh my goodness, that's not good. And my sister-in-law did this when she first came into our family. We were all eating in the table. We have hot chocolate, normally in the winter. We had our sweet bread. She grabs the sweet bread. She opens, she takes a piece of it and dumps it into her hot chocolate. My brothers and myself, we looked at each other and we were so scared. We were panicked. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is my dad going to say? Does she not know how to do that? Like, this is not, what? Like, what is she doing? And she grabs it and she eats it and she's enjoying that piece of bread. And here we are, just like, none of us say anything. My dad just turns at her, looks at us and says, continue on. And then we had to tell her, like, this is our reaction towards that. And she's like, oh, that's funny. My dad loved doing that. So every time I dump it in, it just reminds me of my dad. And this is just habits of childhood learning. We all grow differently and we all have triggers, right? That trigger us to cause whatever that overthinking is, right? And it's just a little example, but that's just one, your childhood learning. Another thing that causes overthinking is the illusion of control. And more than any other painful emotion, human beings seem to have an especially difficult time with helplessness. We hate. I feel like the word hate is strong, but I really feel that we hate feeling helpless. And this is especially true when it comes to the people closest to us, our spouses, our kids, our parents, our bosses, etc. When someone we love or care about is suffering, obviously we want to help. Unfortunately, our ability to help other people is often far more limited than we would like to believe. But rather than confront their helplessness, many people live in denial about it. Even though they can't actually do anything to help, they think a lot and worry a lot and ruminate a lot. Because while it's not always helpful, thinking almost always feels helpful. It's like our own little safe haven when in our own little mind, when we should start thinking about whatever it is that we're thinking about at the moment. So we overthink because it gives us the illusion of control and keeps our helplessness at bay. So unfortunately, the long-term costs are rarely worth it. Chronic anxiety that comes from always worrying, low self-esteem that comes from always ruminating, stress and overwhelm that comes from never feeling like we can shut off our minds. And all these can usually be traced back to our intolerance of helplessness, which means if you want to stop overthinking, you need to get more comfortable with your lack of control. We don't have to be in control of everything. We don't have to be in control of that one person that might say no to your invitation of joining your challenge group. We don't have to be in control of people's ideas of your challenge group, or you posting a picture in your bathing suit or in your bra or in your before and after picture. We don't have to be in control of that. So we have to really get comfortable with that lack of control, and only control what we can, right? Which is our thoughts and our abilities to lose control of what we can't control. And I know that sounds a little repetitive, but it really makes sense. Lose control of what we can't control. The third one that I saw, the illusion of certainty. A close relative of the illusion of control is the illusion of certainty. It's really based on the fact that another thing we human beings just can't stand is uncertainty. I mean, we've been experiencing it for the past 2 years. Have you not seen how this world acts in the case of uncertainty? We go on lockdown. Everything. I mean, I remember, I don't know if it happened in Canada, but I remember early 2020, there was no toilet paper. And I was like, what is wrong with these people? They have like, I guess you can go to someone's like downstairs basement and find like all the like Costco's toilet paper for like a lifetime worth of supplies of toilet paper and Clorox wipes. And I don't know what else, but that's our control that we lack. We don't have control over that. And so it's the illusion of certainty. And as a rule, we love to feel confident in how things are going to unfold, especially in situations where there's a lot on the line. And in fact, we're often so anxious to avoid feeling uncertain that we resort to denial, pretending things are most predictable than they are. And one form of denial about uncertainty is overthinking, keeping ourselves stuck in problems. Solving mode makes us feel like there's a solution to the problem if only we think long enough and hard enough about it. If only I can think so much about this and so hard about this, it's going to go away. That's my way of resolving, or overthinking. That's my way of resolving whatever issue I'm thinking about. And all too often, the nature of reality is profoundly uncertain. The trick is to realize that facing up to uncertainty is actually the best way to navigate it in the long run. So what if your challenge group only has one person? So what if 50 invites that you send in a day, you only get none? So what if people don't really care about you joining a Beachbody or joining a health group with women? So what if that? It's only when you have the courage to live with uncertainty that you can minimize its negative effects on your life. I really feel that that's something we need to learn. So that's the third. The fourth is, I think this hits hard on a lot of us, perfectionism. And I had to learn this hard. Like you guys might know this, but I was actually a 4.0 since 7th grade all the way to high school student honors. I had AP classes, advanced placements classes, and actually I had AP calculus and AP stats. I was the only Latina in an all white classroom. And apparently it wasn't a thing back then that they had Latinos in all these AP classes. And I loved math. Math was like my thing. Like I remember when I went into college, it was like I had everything prepared, and I wanted to be, my dream job was to be an attorney, a corporate attorney. And I remember I went into accounting for my major. And I think the first week in classes, I was like, oh, I'm done. This is not for me. Like I realized it wasn't for me. But I used to be a perfectionist. Like I wanted everything. I couldn't do anything without knowing exactly how it was going to turn out. And I had to go from 1 through 10, from A through Z in order. I could not go from A through D and skip B, C. I'm like, that would make me nuts. But here's the thing most people don't get about perfectionism. Perfectionism is not about being perfect. It's about feeling perfect. People who struggle with perfectionism have a hard time moving on from things because they don't feel perfect about them, right? And I know what we do is social media, which is why I encourage all our new coaches to start posting, to start talking about the journey that they're just embarking on. I encourage them to talk about their life story, their transformation story, or hey, I'm just about to embark on this amazing journey. Why? Because social media right now, it's all about having that perfect body, right? That perfect face, that perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect nails. And it's not about that. It's about feeling perfect sometimes. Oh, I don't really feel good in this dress, so I'm not going to wear it. But it looks amazingly beautiful on you. Why don't you want to wear it? I just don't feel good in it. Right? Is it really that you don't feel good in it, or you don't feel perfect like it looked on the model that you bought it? And that before and after post you're about to publish, sometimes we we think about it too much, right? Or maybe invite a friend or a complete stranger. Like when someone asks you when you first started, hey, do you have a friend you want to invite to a challenge group? Oh my gosh, no. Like, no, I don't have any friends. No. I'm not ready yet. Like, no. I don't even look good. Look at my flabby arms. I still have my muffin top. Like, oh my gosh, no. I don't need anything. Or maybe that life you wish you could do for your audience to let them know I'm here. This is what I believe in, and this is the journey I'm about to start. And I want you to follow me. I want you to embrace this journey that I'm about to go on. So follow me because I'm going to be posting my workouts. I'm going to be posting what I eat because trust me, I love chocolate cake. I'm going to eat chocolate cake, and you guys are going to be my witness that even though I eat a piece of chocolate cake, I am still going to be amazing. I'm going to look and feel amazing in my journey. That's what it's all about. The perfectionism, it's about feeling perfect, right? So nobody actually believes they need to be perfect, which is obviously impossible, but their tolerance for feeling less than perfect about something is very, very low. And what's the result? Perfectionists end up thinking as a way to distract from having to feel less than perfect about their work, about their journey, about anything that is that they do. So if you struggle with perfectionism, there's a good chance your overthinking problem is an emotional tolerance problem. Practice tolerating the feeling of inadequacy so that you can get on with life however you feel. It's all about being comfortable in your own skin. And I know you hear it, and I know it's a repetition that we repeat it over and over again. And it costs me. Like I'm the fat girl in my family. Trust me, I am. It's funny because in junior high, I really was that ugly duckling. High school, kind of, I started to go into puberty, and I guess the good genes in my life started to come into my life. But then now that I'm older, right? I think it was last year that I saw, no, before COVID, so 2019. I was at the mall, and I saw someone from my high school, and I recognized him. So I said, "Hey, how are you?" It's Jesse, and he looked at me puzzled. He's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Carina, remember we were here, you there, and he's like, "Carina?" And he looks at me head to toe, and he's like, "Wow, you look different." I'm like, "I know, right? Like I'm a lot prettier, I'm sure." And he just looks and he's like, "Yeah." That was me trying to feel reassurance, right? Because I knew I was that person right there. I knew that's how I felt. It took me a long time to feel comfortable in my own skin. It took me a long time tolerating the feeling of feeling inadequate, of feeling different. But then I realized, Carina, what makes you different is what makes you beautiful. It's who you are. It's what this world needs, which is why you were created the way you are, because this world needs who you are, the way you are, and you need to bring that to the world. I learned that. And when I learned that, I feel so much better about myself. I actually really did, and it feels so good. But anyways, that's perfectionism. So number 5, you get a secondary gain. And some people get stuck in the habit of overthinking because it has secondary or non-obvious benefits, right? So for example, some people maintain their habit of overthinking because it leads to sympathy and pity from other people in their lives, which feels good. Overthinking can also be an excuse for procrastinating or avoiding decisions. If you tell yourself you can't make a decision because maybe you haven't thought enough about it, then you can't ever be blamed for making a bad decision, right? that's what we think, right? That's probably a lot of, I know there's a coach who's an elite coach now, two-time elite coach. She said it took her 4 years to say yes to her coach. 4 years. Talk about an overthinker. That was her. Now she's a two-time elite coach in Chicago. 4 years. And now she's part of the market council for the Chicago Latino, which Joel will be there. And I'm just like, it took you 4 years to say yes. And now look at all this. Like, if you can only stop overthinking certain things, you can just maybe open the door to all the good things that come to your life and come your way. You're just putting a stop to it because you're just overthinking it. But so one approach to ending the cycle of overthinking, it's really to figure out what the non-obvious benefits are for your overthinking. And then really generate less stress producing strategies for getting the same thing, right? So for example, if you tend to overthink because it gets you attention and maybe sympathy from your spouse, maybe you can work on being more emotionally vulnerable and assertive about your relationship, right? Open, be more open about it, whatever it is. Habits stick around for a reason. Changing them begins when you understand what that reason really is. And I know I might be a little direct, but really sometimes we have to be very open and very sincere. And I know sometimes I'm asking you, and by me telling you all these things, I'm going really, really deep. I'm like really opening the attic, right? I don't know. My house was built in 1910. And I know it's really old. It's remodeled, but it's really old. And so we have an attic. It's like a really old attic, but it's clean down there. So it's nice. But it's like if you open that attic, sometimes we have to open the attic. We have to go downstairs, really deep inside us, and really start letting things out and really start to, clean out the spider webs, clear out those chains, break those chains open, and say, this is what's happening, which is why I'm overthinking on this, because I'm also overthinking on this, and it's also causing problems on this side. So sometimes think about it. Go deep down into the attic of your heart, of your soul, of your mind. What habits are sticking around that are causing this overthinking? And we move on to our sixth one. Oh, there we go. Overgeneralization. This is overgeneralization means that because a lot of thinking helps in one area of your life, right? School or work, for example, we have to think about it. We do have to think about for work, I have to think about trainings, have to think about one-on-ones, we have to think about all the things. You assume that it will also work in other areas of your life, like your partner, grief, for example, or whatever. But thinking is a tool. But many people are so good at thinking and so rewarded for it in certain aspects of life that they have a hard time putting that tool down in other areas of life where it's less helpful. Like, great, I love that you're a great thinker, but right now you need to lower down 2 levels of your thinking, and let's just go for it. Let's just go do the work and let's do it. Like let's say we're doing lift more. Well, if I really have to do lift more, what kind of weights? I really need this bench. I really need this weight. What do I do? Well, what if I get this other bench? Well, what if that works? No, you don't need to think too much on that. Get your bench, get your weights, you're done. Press play. Just do it. It's just do it. A lot of things work that way. Some things require more thinking, other things don't. It's like the old saying goes, right? To a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, to the expert thinker, everything starts to look like a problem to be solved with lots of thinking. That's overgeneralization. So you find yourself overthinking. It's probably worth making a list of different areas of your life and asking yourself honestly whether more analytical thinking is really the most effective approach to this problem. So that's one thing. And my last thing that I came up with when it comes to overthinking, I'm going to be honest. I hesitated a little bit talking about fear of conflict, because I was overthinking, yes, but sometimes it's good to overthink. I put myself into situations like, okay, Karina, do you want to talk about fear of conflict? Because it's not really, we're not, it's more like conflict sounds more negative, right? It's like a negative word. And we're not about negative. We're about, happiness and fulfilling life. But sometimes, and if you haven't been told yet, I want to be the first person to tell you, you're going to experience a lot of conflict in different areas as a Beachbody coach, and obviously in your life and whatnot. And if you, like I put it on there, if you insist on avoiding external conflict, be prepared for a lot of internal conflict, because you're going to be struggling inside and you're going to be stressed about it. So most of us don't especially enjoy conflict. And so understandably, I know that, but we tend to avoid it when it's possible. Oh, I don't want to talk to him. We just turn around. Oh my gosh, my son just did this. I don't want to talk to him right now. It's going to cause conflict. And no, unfortunately, what it means, this means we don't get much practice in handling conflict well. And this makes us less confident in our ability to handle conflict well in the future, which lead us to avoid conflict even more. So do you see where this cycle is going? Like any phobia, the problem with always avoiding conflict is that you're assuming conflict is always dangerous. But just because some spiders are poisonous doesn't mean that all spiders are a cause for alarm. But the more you treat spiders that way, the more they begin to feel that way, right? It's like not a scary spider, but you freak out, you're on top of the stairs. That's me with mice, by the way. I have a phobia with mice and little mouse. Anyway, so it's the same thing with conflict. The more we irrationally avoid it, the more afraid we are of it, right? When we become aware of it or whatever's happening. So when conflict feels dangerous, you're going to spend a lot of time and mental energy every day trying to figure out how to avoid it, even very small bits of conflict. And then once you do avoid it, you're also going to need to do lots of mental gymnastics to make excuses for it. And this happens in every aspect of our lives. So excessive fear of conflict really leads to a lot of unnecessary thinking. So some conflict you absolutely do want to avoid, right? But most of it could actually be handled well and with a minimum of stress if you give yourself opportunity to practice this. So if you insist on avoiding external conflict, just be prepared for a lot of internal conflict. These are the steps I found out when it comes to causes of overthinking. Now I got rid of all the causes of that. Now I want to talk to you about how to get out of your own way to start enjoying your journey. Like this is like the fun part, right? And I love this. This is something that I saw. But before I do get into this slide, what really bothers me is when I'm working on a Monday, right? Today, you look back and you realize I didn't get out and do something I truly enjoy over the weekend. I'm like talking about things like I'm like going dancing, hanging out with my friends, finding a new trail or bike or to hike, or taking my kids to the lake. There's so many lakes here that we hardly ever go to any of them. The type of activities that really take my effort to go and do. You see, even though I know I will have fun when I go dancing and be happy, once I get back from that, I have zero regrets about going. It's not always easy to get myself to go though. And I do have a range of excuses to tell myself why I shouldn't. I'm tired. It'll probably be better to rest today. Translation, Netflix, and criminal stories that I watch a lot. Anyways, that, or maybe I tell myself I don't have anybody to watch my kids. I could easily done those and obviously ask my family to take care of them, but maybe I'll go later. Nope, that does not happen because that later never comes, right? So the worst part is that these are activities I want to do. I know I will enjoy and I will be happy when I do them. But taking that initial step to actually go and get them done, trust me, it's difficult for me. And this can get bad if saying no to things you love doing becomes a habit. And I've been there, and it's definitely a downward spiral. Again, we have the past 2 years that have taught us that. it taught us so many things that we had to stop doing things that we love and enjoy, especially when it came to people. Beachbody, Summit, super weekends are finally back, but Summit, I could just feel that. I felt, I don't know who went to Summit, but if you went to Summit, the vibe that you had, that you saw, or the vibe that I felt was people were ready to be with people. People were like, had enough of being locked down by themselves and not enjoying that community, that warmth, that heat of joy of being around human beings. We wanted to be around each other. And honestly, we were awkward. It was so awkward sometimes. It's like, when you're by yourself for a long time and you finally see someone, it's like awkward. It's like, should I hug you? Should I not hug you? Should I shake your hand? Should I not shake your hand? Are we doing elbows? It was a little awkward, but because we're not used to that, because it became a habit of not doing the things that we love. But each of us have things that we love, right? And these things are both deeply enjoyable and they fit in ourselves into the vision of who we want to be. When we're doing them, we feel both fun and joy in the moment, but we also feel confident and content with the person we're aiming to be, because we're doing something that's making us better. We're doing something that's just makes us feel alive because we're passionate about whatever it is that we're doing. But we also have things we just like, things that may offer some momentary pings of joy, like cleaning the bathrooms. It gives me a little bit of joy because after it's done, it's nice and clean and I can use it. But doing it, I'm not liking it too much, So it makes us feel better that we're doing it, but we're not being deeply fulfilled. It's just something that we do, that we have to do to pass the time, right? So it's like a route to greater happiness and both the day-to-day enjoyment and long-term fulfillment of who you are, where you are, and keep life simple. So do more things of the things you love, cut back on the things you merely like. And like you have right here, it's life activities, right? Put it in 4, things that you love, things that you like, things that you must, and things that you should. It takes courage and discipline to do what you love, especially you moms, especially you wives. It's hard to do things you love because you feel obligated to do things that you like and things that you should and things that you must, right? But we hardly ever really focus on the things that we love. And courage, because the shoulds and socially acceptable activities you merely like often aren't the default. And let me see if I can show you. We need to have fewer shoulds. I don't know if you agree with me on this, but sometimes we need to be disciplined as to what we love. And I'll tell you why, because society is full of addictive behavioral loops that really hijack our impulses without really providing us deep satisfaction. I love learning new things, painting, cooking, and spending time with my family, but I'm often watching only mildly interesting reels, right? Because the app on my phone, the Instagram app, becomes the perfect variable reinforcement schedule to give me just the right dose of intrigue for the lowest possible effort to keep me engaged, right? Those reels, dang it. And then I make one and you feel so happy about it, but really, was that a love? Was it something that I love to do? Or was it something that you posted on there, right? So fewer shoulds. Just as you should cut back on the things that you like to make room for what you love, you should also cut back on the shoulds. If something isn't a must and it doesn't fill you with excitement, then you might as well abandon the guilt about avoiding it now. And here, let me show you how to really discipline yourself to do what you love. And isn't it weird that we have to discipline ourselves to do the things that we love? And yet I see my children and they go outside and they love to get wet and that's all they do because they love it. When we were children, we just did the things that we love. But then adult life comes on and we're like, oh wait, I have to discipline myself to actually do what I love. It takes courage and it does take discipline to do what you love. But you need to do more of it. Do more of what you love. Oh, where's my It's not working. There we go. Do more of what you love. And I am going to give you 3 steps on how to do that. 4 actually. So step 1, write on a list all the things you love to do. That means you enjoy doing them, but also they give you a deeper satisfaction and meaning. So write it all. This is what I love to do. What gives you that deep satisfaction? Is it working out? I actually do love working out. It gives me peace and satisfaction. I no longer work out to get abs or lose weight. I work out because my body loves it. And I love how my body feels after I work out. I really do. I love how I feel after I have a one-on-one with a coach, which is why I do it. I love how I feel after I have calls like these because it makes me feel fulfilled. I have a deep satisfaction towards it. So do more of what you love, which is why I love the job that I have, because it opens the possibilities of me doing more of what I love. 2, write also a list of things you might love to do. If you gave them a chance, you might love them. Like maybe a live. If you haven't done a live on your social media page, you will never know how good it feels for you to do a live until you actually do one. Or maybe you never know what it feels like to actually drive a challenge group by yourself if you've never done it. So they might be things that intrigue you, but that you haven't mastered to a point that would make you feel good consistently while you do them. So write a list about the must, right? And then the things that you might. And 3, write out a list of the things you do regularly that you merely like or even dislike. I will tell you what I dislike. And I will tell you about my job. After every call, I have to write, there's a system that we have that I have to write down everything that I talked about. And I have notes and I write them down, but I really dislike doing that because I just wish I could just take a picture of what I wrote and post it on that thing. But no, I have to spend 20 minutes and just go in there, write everything, make sure everything was posted on there in case someone else sees it, they can see what we talked about or whatnot, right? I have to do it, but I merely like, it's not a huge thing that I like. And I know my bosses are aware of that. I was just like, I am really bad at doing it, but I still have to do it. But I write a list of that and I talk about it. I'm like, this is something that I feel like I don't like, but I write it down. And 4, really, you go step by step. You seek to really eliminate those in number 3 and you replace them with those in list number 1 or 2. You can do this by changing your habits. Maybe instead of Carina writing it down on her notebook, she can write it down as we're speaking, right? Putting restrictions on your phone if you you don't prioritize your time and maybe people call or text and instead of you sending your invites, you focus on the text that just came in, your television, your computer, your limit usage, or simply by signing up more of your time for what you love so the things you merely like get pushed out. And let me see if I can stop share right here. I really truly believe that when you start taking control of what you like and what you love, and you understand that getting out and doing the things that you love is so important for you to feel good about yourself. Because as with Beachbody Mission, we're here to help people achieve goals and live happier, fulfilling, healthier, fulfilling life. What is that fulfilling life for you? If it's not making you happy, if you're not doing what you love, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing then? We know we should do things that we enjoy, but I feel like we hesitate so much in doing it. And why? Why don't we dance to the rhythm of our own beat, right? Why don't we do that? Because we're afraid. We think too much of what other people will say or of what we think should be right. Take control of your life. And you're probably here because you want to understand overthinking. You're probably here because you need motivation by Carina and you need inspiration. But really, my greatest fear, and I do have fears, is that you will get motivated. You will get inspired and you will write down this list and you will try to do something. But after a few minutes after a call, you probably will do nothing. That's my fear. And what I really, really hope for is that all of you can dare to take that first step into doing the things you love, to don't second guess yourself. You will realize that the only thing that matters is action. And you will take that action. And it is in that action that your potential greatness waits. But you will never know if you stop and think about the what ifs and the what if that and what if that. Just open the door. Take that first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Wise words from a very wise man, Martin Luther King. You just have to believe that you can learn. You have to believe that if you can take that first step into action, into doing the things you love, and to stop overthinking and understanding the root causes of why you overthink, and you put yourself on a journey of learning, on a journey of inspiring other people, on a journey of giving. And what are you giving? The gift of achieving one's own goals and living a healthier, fulfilling life. Whatever the vision that you have for yourself as a coach, as a human being in this world, all you need to know, really, all you need to know is to take the first step. The process is about learning, growing, and getting better. Emphasis on learning, because we're not perfect as we learn. We're learning, we're growing, we make mistakes, we fail, and then we fail again, and then we learn, and then we probably fall back, and then we go back up again. That's growing, and that's us getting better. Taking the first steps on faith that you can get better. Once you have that faith, once you know that you can get better through pressure, through pain, through difficulty, through failure, but in order to get on this road of difficulty and for you to get your first glorious failure. And I know you said, Karina, you're saying glorious failure. That's like positive with the negative. Yes, because we learn through our failures. That's what makes you you. That's what makes you someone that I want to follow, that I want to be inspired by, because I want to know how you overcame that failure. And you are the person that you are right now. But you must take that first step. You must take action. You must really understand to stop overthink and start enjoying the life that you want for yourself, for your family, and for all of those that surround you. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your time trying to get motivated or inspired each time you feel down. Don't overthink it. Just keep moving forward. The wonderful thing about the human mind is that you can get good at anything you set your mind to. And it's just not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fast. We're still going to overthink things. But if we caught ourselves in that action, and then we have the willingness into putting in all that work, that is what's going to separate you from everybody else and really elevate your business to the next level. So again, I dare you to take control of your life, to understand the causes of your overthinking, and start doing what you love. I think I went way past my time, but I hope you guys, this really helped you understand that.
It was so good. Oh, I had messages coming in being like, this call is gold. I have chills. This spoke to me. It was so good. Thank you so much. You made me think of Joel's quote for anybody who's doing Lift More today. He said, little itty bitty movements for big improvements. And that's it. It's not massive. And I always get teary listening to you speak, but it doesn't have to be a big step. You just got to take the step. So I challenge you guys to not, like Karina said, don't just have a call and be inspired, and then tomorrow you wake up and you feel like crap and you're sore and you can't move your whatever T-Rex arms and you so you can't text out those invites because your arms hurt too much. You're thinking, I just gotta do legs. Okay, right now when we're done this call, you're gonna send out invites. And you're gonna do that as soon as we're done. And then before bed, you're gonna journal out those things that you love, and you're gonna start doing them, and you're gonna put it in your planner for when you're gonna do it. Okay. And you're gonna do it this month. You're gonna do it in the next 2 weeks. Because if you don't plan it, it's not gonna happen. So you're gonna take action in your life right now. So the 2 things, you're gonna invite as soon as you get off the call with your T-Rex arms, and you're gonna write down tonight, you're gonna journal before bed, you're gonna 5 minutes. And you're going to journal what you love, and you're going to start doing it. Ottawa crew, if you like to paddleboard, you guys can message me because I'm going to paddleboard in the next 2 weeks. Yes, Erica, I see your face. Because I haven't gone on the water, and I too have been reflecting on things I'm not doing because I'm just so busy and tired and all the things. paddleboarding. I need to get out there. So Ottawa Crew, message me. We can all go out together. I think that's it. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Let me know how that paddleboarding goes and how it makes you guys feel, because even if you fall down from the paddleboard, honestly, it's so much fun just to fall down and enjoy that fall in the water. Thank you so much for inviting me, ladies.
You're
Have
welcome.
a wonderful evening. Take action and good luck this month. I know it's Team Cup month, so
It's going to be an amazing month, ladies. Okay, go take action.